Hey guys, I'm Alex from Sanzu Fabrications, and I forgot to tell you something. You've seen me construct and paint Ike's shoulder pauldron, but I never told you how I was planning on attaching it. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I went ahead and constructed the armband that holds the shoulder pauldron on. Like many of my other pieces, the final version that I'm showing you isn't my first attempt. My first version was sloppy and incapable of properly attaching to Ike's arm. Since my first attempt was a complete failure, I won't bother filling your heads with useless information about it. For the final version, I decided to break up the strap into two pieces. If you look closely at some of the screenshots from Super Smash Bros., it looks like the strapping completely covers Ike's shoulder. To make it a bit more practical, I decided to make the lower pattern portion attached directly to the pauldron. The rest of the strap will actually be sewn directly onto Ike's blue shirt as a sleeve. By doing it this way, I can ensure the larger part of the strap won't slide down Ike's arm. I started by measuring out a 20-inch by 5.5-inch strip of brown suede. You might recognize this suede as the same material I used for Marth's inner belt. With this material, I could only iron on low temperatures, otherwise the suede would melt. So to help hold down the sides of the suede so I could hem them, I used 1 centimeter wide strips of Heat and Bond Light. The low heat setting on my iron was enough to hold these down so I could stitch over them. With everything hemmed, I cut out a square of craft foam in the same size as the unpainted portion on the inside of the pauldron. I sewed this directly onto the suede. I was lucky enough to mention to one of my friends that I would be sewing craft foam onto fabric, and she offered me some great advice. Set your stitch length as wide as possible. If your stitch length is too short, you'll effectively perforate the foam and tear it. I know I told you I wouldn't talk about my failed version of this strap, but I'm going to make an exception. Ike's strap has this squared pattern on it. Well, I tried to draw it on and stitch over the lines, but no matter how careful I was, it just looked terrible. So instead, I opted to spray the pattern on. I found a small box of sewing needles and traced the general shape onto the strap where I wanted the rectangles to be. I then used the same box to make a stencil. I took the stencil, the strap, and a can of fabric spray paint out to the garage and sprayed the squares on. I was sure to use extra sheets of paper to prevent the paint from accidentally covering other areas too. In addition to the paint, I also lightly dusted the strap with a mixture of watered down bleach to lighten the color and add a bit of unevenness. I was a bit impatient, so I lightly ironed the strap to help dry the paint and set the bleach. Don't do this. Yes, it helped speed up the drying time, but now I have tons of black paint on my iron that I get to remove. Even worse, it atomizes the bleach, creating a severe health hazard that can, and will, irritate your lungs. And you may not know this, but your lungs are important. With all that done, I used a combination of super glue and contact cement to adhere the craft foam to the raw foam on the inside of the pauldron. Maybe all of that bleach inhalation affected my brain, because once I glued it, I realized I didn't add a closure to the strap. So I added some heavy-duty pieces of Velcro, but as strong as the adhesive was, it didn't take to the suede. To make sure the Velcro stayed on, I used some heavy-duty quilting thread to hand-stitch through the Velcro. All the adhesive pretty much destroyed my needle, but at least it seems pretty secure now. And what should have taken 20 minutes is now done. I wasn't planning on devoting a whole video to this, but since I encountered so many weird problems putting it together, I thought it might be useful for anyone putting together a similar setup. Since this wasn't really a planned video, I'm sure I must have left some things out. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments. I respond to all of the comments you guys leave.